Good evening, Crystal here with Wild Roots Apothecary and Seed Shop. Today we're going to show you how to can dill pickles. In this tray right here, I have already fermented for 7 days in what I call my saltwater bath. And so for this demonstration, I went ahead and harvested some fresh cucumbers from the garden so we can show you a little bit how to do that process so that you're ready to can. Now once you get your cucumbers in the sink, make sure you use cold water. Otherwise, you will make the cucumbers a little rubbery, and we don't want to do that. So let me go ahead and wash these off real quick. So after you've washed your cucumbers really well in cold water, let's go ahead and cut the blossom ends off. You want to do that so you can get rid of any enzymes that break down the cucumber and turn them soft or rubbery, and this is going to be your blossom ends. You can tell if you don't have the blossom still on it, like this one for instance, you can tell which end was the blossom end. This is the end that you plucked off with the vine, and then this is the end that it's a little more narrow. That's where the blossom end is. So you want to go ahead and cut that off. Just a little bit, not a lot. Now I've already made a 5-gallon bucket of distilled water with salt and vinegar. And I'm gonna put the instructions in the bottom of the video, so feel free to go through that for more detailed instructions. For this purpose, I'm just demonstrating how I got to this point. So now that we've got all of those cut, we're gonna walk on over here and we're gonna put these into our 5-gallon bucket. So we're just going to drop these in. Now these can sit in here for 12 hours before you pickle them, or if you don't have enough to harvest, you can go ahead and keep these in here for about 7 days before you have to pickle them. Got 2 more left. So this is just from today from my garden. And then you'll want to make sure that they're submerged in the solution. So what I do is I have this plate right here, and I just put this plate right over top of this. And again, this is a 5-gallon bucket, so my plate fits perfectly in there. And then what I'm gonna do is put this lid on it, and then I'm gonna put this in my refrigerator and just keep filling it up until I'm ready to can. Just like that. All right, now, put this out of the way. So now we're gonna go ahead and start cutting these up. Now you can leave them whole, you can cut them into spears, or you cut them in half, whatever you prefer. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut mine up in 4s. And they're very crispy, and they've been in there for 7 days, guys. So this is exactly how you want to do things to keep your pickles crispy for at least a year. So while I'm cutting these up, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cut about 1/4 of the cucumbers that I have fermented already, so we can go ahead and start our brine. We're gonna do that real quick, and then we're gonna fill the jars while that's boiling. So come on over, let's get that done. So I've already put my distilled water in here. And now we're gonna go ahead and add 6 cups of distilled white vinegar. Get that boiling real quick. So while the brine is boiling, we're going to go ahead and fill our jars. What I like to do is you can either take garlic cloves or you can take minced garlic, either way. You're going to take some and put it in the bottom of your jars. And I'm going to do 4 for now for the purposes of the video. And then we're going to go ahead and take some dill seed. sprinkle some of that on the bottom as well. And you can use whatever recipe that you want to. This is just the one that me and my family like to use. And then I got some of this pickling spice, nothing fancy, just super easy. I also sell pickling spice in the apothecary. Everything's already bagged up and ready to go for this. Just like that. And again, while we're waiting for the brine to boil, we're gonna go ahead and start filling our jars with our cucumbers. You just wanna line them up neatly around the jar. And if you have a water bath canner, you might want to go ahead and get that started while you're doing this process as well. Then that's ready to drop into the canner. So just like that. And again, all of the spices are on the bottom, which will float around once you put your brine in there. So we're gonna set this one aside and we're gonna do the same thing and we'll be right back. So just checking on the water to see if it's boiling yet. It has not boiled yet, so we're gonna go ahead and throw our sugar, salt, and spices in. Now we're gonna put 1/4 cup of sugar. And we're going to put 1/2 cup of salt. And again, this is our brine that we're going to be filling our jars. And then whatever spices that you want to put in there, I'm just going to put some more of my pickling spice in there. And then we're going to stir that around. Let it come to a boil, and we'll be back. Now that we've got our brine ready to go, we're going to go ahead and get a ladle. And we're going to ladle our brine into our jars, leaving 1/2 inch on the top of the rim. And if you get too much in there, you can always take it out.
Daisies blooming, sundress swaying in the breeze. I can't stop staring. You've put a spell on me, and I hope that you never decide to set me.
There, almost. Alright, while I'm finishing this up, we'll be right back. So after you get your jars filled with the brine, you're going to want to use a butter knife to go around the jar to make sure you get any bubbles out. Of course, if you pack your jars really well, you won't have to do this much. So you want to remove any air bubbles so then that way your jars heat up evenly for storage. Now these can be stored for up to a year after you boil them. Alright, now you're ready to put your lids on. Now before this preparation, I went ahead and boiled all of these jars, cleaned them really well, and made sure they were ready before the video. So always make sure you clean your jars. I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these up. Not too tight, just enough to get it secure. thermometer in here. What we want to do is keep the temperature about 180 to 185 degrees. Right now it's too hot. So we're going to go ahead and simmer this down so we can get it to the right temperature, because we're going to put these in here for about 30 minutes at that temperature. So we'll be right back. Okay, now that we've got our temperature between 180 and 185, we're going to go ahead and drop our jars down in the canner. Make sure that your rack is up higher so you can start placing them around. You don't ever want to set these directly on the bottom of your canner. You always want to have a rack. So these are going to sit in this water bath for about 30 minutes. And after that, we're going to pull them out and let them start cooling on a towel on the countertop. I think we're going to be able to get majority of these in here. Gonna be one shy, but that's all right. Well, I say that, we might be able to get another one in here. Yep, we're gonna be able to get the other one in. Good deal. All right, we're gonna go ahead and lower this down. Make sure your cans have at least 1 to 2 inches of water on the top layer. And we're gonna leave this in here. Just make sure you keep checking your temperature to make sure it's still between 180 and 185, and we'll be back in 30 minutes. All right, it's been 30 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and start pulling these jars out and setting them on the countertop so that they can cool for about 12 to 16 hours. Try not to touch them during the cooling process. You may hear the lids popping to release some of the pressure, but that's completely normal. But after about 2 weeks, these dill pickles are ready to eat and enjoy. Hope you enjoyed the video.